Facing a criminal charge is, without a doubt, one of the most terrifying and confusing things that can happen to you. It feels like you've been dropped into a maze, blindfolded. But that's what we're here for today. We're going to give you the map. We are going to walk through this entire journey step by step. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The fear of the unknown is really scary. So our goal with this explainer is to take that fear and replace it with knowledge, giving you a real sense of what to expect. We're going to use one single metaphor for this whole thing. Think of the criminal justice system as a train journey. From the second you're arrested, you're on this train, and every single stop, from your first court date to a potential trial, is just a station along the way. So your journey begins the moment you're arrested. And let's be honest, it feels like being shoved onto a train you never ever wanted to board. It's confusing, it's stressful, but what you do in these first few moments is absolutely critical. The goal right now isn't to win your case on the side of the road, it's just to stabilize the situation. Okay, so this is crucial. Anytime you think you might be getting arrested, you have to remember these three things. First, and most importantly, remain silent. Just be quiet. Anything you say can and will be twisted and used against you. Just give them your name, your basic info, and that's it. Second, you have the right to refuse searches. Don't give consent. And third, resist that urge to argue, yelling, "I know my rights." It almost never helps. Stay calm. Let your lawyer fight about any violations later in a courtroom. So once you're booked, the next big thing on everyone's mind is getting out of jail. You've basically got two paths here. You can pay a cash bond. That means you put up the full amount yourself, and you get most of it back when the case is done. Or you can hire a bail bondsman. You pay a fee you'll never get back, usually about 10%, and they post the rest for you. It's really a trade-off. Getting your money back later versus needing a lot less cash right now. All right, let's move to the next stop on this train ride, your arraignment. This is your first day in court where the charges are officially read to you. Think of it like the conductor finally coming by to check your ticket. This is the moment where the journey's destination suddenly becomes a whole lot clearer. You find out if you're on the local misdemeanor track or the much more serious felony track. And when you look at this, the difference is just staggering. It's not a small gap, it's a canyon. A misdemeanor is handled in county court, and you're looking at most a year in the county jail. A felony that's in circuit court, and it could mean 5 years, all the way up to life in a state prison. The consequences are in a different universe, with felonies costing you fundamental rights, like your right to vote or own a gun. Now here's a key piece of local insight you absolutely have to know, even if you have the exact same charge as someone else. How your case gets handled can be wildly different depending on if you're in Escambia, Santa Rosa, Okaloosa, or Walton County. Each one has its own vibe, its own way of doing things, and this is exactly why having a defense lawyer with deep local knowledge is so important. So the charges are set, and now the train is really starting to pick up some steam. We're entering what's called the discovery phase. This is where both sides, the prosecution and the defense, start gathering their passengers, who are the witnesses, and their cargo, which is all the evidence, police reports, videos, you name it. This is where the real work of building a case happens. You know, Florida law is actually pretty fair to the defense. When it comes to this part, the state is legally required to turn over all of its evidence to you. Now, the rule says they have 15 days, but in the real world it's usually more like 4 to 6 weeks. This is why you need a lawyer who is proactive and constantly on them to get everything. Hidden within all that evidence is something incredibly important called Brady material. Basically, this is any evidence the prosecution has that can actually help you. Evidence that points to you being innocent, or maybe shows that their main witness isn't trustworthy. They are legally forbidden from hiding this from you. It's a fundamental rule of fairness baked into the system. As the train keeps chugging along, you're going to start to see some potential exits. These are ways you might be able to get off this journey before you reach the final destination of a trial. These exits usually look like pre-trial motions, where your lawyer challenges the state's case, or plea negotiations, where you try to resolve the case early. And this right here, this is one of the biggest decisions you're going to have to make. Do you fight this thing all the way to the end, or do you take one of these early exits? There's no easy answer. It all depends on the evidence, the risks, and what you're willing to live with. So your attorney has some powerful tools to try and win the case before it even gets to a jury. A motion to suppress, for example, could get key evidence thrown out if the police messed up in Florida. A stand your ground motion can end the whole case if you were defending yourself. And a motion to dismiss basically argues that, hey, even if everything the state says is true, it's not actually a crime. If you don't exit with a plea or a dismissal, you can force the government to prove that you committed a crime. But there is a huge risk you have to think about, and it's something people in the system call the trial tax. Now, it's not a real tax, but it's a very real thing. It's the idea that judges often give a much harsher sentence to someone who turns down a plea deal, fights a trial, and loses. It's the system's way of pushing people to take deals, and it puts a ton of pressure on you when those plea deals come. A lot of people see probation and think, oh, that's the easy way out. But this advice is critical. Never just take probation. It is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. It's a trap. It comes with a ton of strict rules, and one tiny mistake can land you right back in jail, often facing a way worse sentence than you were first offered. You have to be so careful with it. So if you decide on trial, you finally arrive at the last stop on the line, the trial. This is it. This is where the whole system is put to the test. It's the one place where the burden is 100% on the government to prove what they're saying, and where a jury of your fellow citizens stands as the ultimate firewall protecting your freedom. Now, a trial isn't just chaos. It follows a very specific, structured path. It starts with selecting a jury. Then you have opening statements where both sides lay out their version of the story. The prosecution goes first, presenting their evidence, and your lawyer gets to cross-examine all of their witnesses. Then after the closing arguments, the jury goes into a room to decide, and finally they come back with a verdict. And listen, if you remember one thing about a trial, make it this. The government has to prove you are guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. That is not just some fancy legal phrase. It is the highest, toughest standard in our entire legal system. The whole thing is designed on purpose to make it incredibly difficult for the government to take away a person's freedom. And that really brings us to the whole point of this, doesn't it? The jury trial isn't just a process. It is a vital firewall. It is a group of ordinary people standing between the massive power of the government and one single person at the end of the day. It's the thing that's supposed to keep all of us free. So we'll leave you with this question. The entire criminal justice system, with all its plea bargains and backlogs, it only works because almost everyone gives up their right to a trial. You have an absolute constitutional right to make the government prove its case. The system is betting you won't use it. The question is, will you? Everything we've gone over today, this whole roadmap, comes from the guide Navigating a Criminal Case by me, Attorney Joseph Mitkevichus. If you or someone you know is facing charges in Northwest Florida, understanding this journey is your first and your best step forward.